Hey everyone, Dan from Telestats here. Hope you're doing okay. We're now at the final of Eurovision. It feels like an incredibly long process has passed, but we are finally here. It's been an interesting couple of weeks with the rehearsals. What this video will be is just me going through the main frontrunners, I think the same 5 frontrunners that everyone has, and talking about how they're doing in the stats and then also my personal opinion on them. If you do enjoy this content, please comment below or hit the like button or retweet my post on Twitter, just anything. I really appreciate it. Let's start with Ukraine. The obvious question, will they or will they not win with the song that they have, which is limited in its appeal in a regular year? I'll be completely upfront. My honest view is that they have like 60% chance of winning. This week especially, I've been flip-flopping a lot on Ukraine. Like, one minute I'll think that, they're definitely going to win. The next minute I'll be like, hey, you know what, maybe they won't win. And then, it will just switch depending on what I'm reading at the time. I'm not usually like this. It is so knife edge, the Ukraine. And there's so many hypotheticals that we just don't have any visibility of in terms of how the juries are going to react to it, how the televoters are going to react to it. It's an impossible question to answer. In the semis, the contestants that happened to go through were often very jury-centric. Often it was a surprise. Let's think Iceland, Lithuania, Azerbaijan, Belgium, probably a few others as well that I can't think of right now. Switzerland, they are leaning more towards quality and seriousness in a way rather than televote appeal, which is negative for Ukraine's chances. The idea is that if juries are looking for quality this year, they're probably not looking for rap because they don't really like rap normally, and they certainly don't like 40-second dance segments at the end of the song where there's no singing at all, right? When I think about countries this year that could do better than Ukraine with the jurors, even sympathetic jurors, you can think about Italy, Sweden, Poland, Greece, the UK, possibly even Spain, Azerbaijan. There's a few in there, and so you have to think to yourself, well, what is the average score that Ukraine is going to get with the juries in a normal year? Unless there are some incredibly sympathetic jurors, even let's account for a little bit of sympathy, I can't see why Ukraine would get more than at least average 2 or 3 points per country. But then I think about Shum last year for Ukraine that got 97 with the juries. That feels like a better song than Stefania. So in reality, a normal year, I don't think that Ukraine would ever deserve more than 60 juror points. We're going to have to see how the juries respond to Kalish Orchestra and if there is some obvious sympathy and solidarity voting happening there. The televote side of things with Ukraine is a completely different matter, a completely different question, and it's not an easy question to ask. We know that obviously a lot of people have fled the Ukraine, especially to places like Poland, where they've taken in over 3 million refugees. I can imagine Poland will be giving them 12, but then other neighbouring countries as well. You also have the question, of course, of will the rest of Europe that maybe aren't so immediately involved, will they be showing the levels of solidarity that many of us expect them to show? That's an open question. As usual in these videos, I'm going to switch to Telestats. I'm going to go through some statistics and show you what we've got over the last few days from the semis. And we'll see what we can work out from there. Ukraine did get 12th slot in the running order for the final, which suggests that they did win their semi. Obviously, bad news for layers. But the question is, in my mind, does the EBU want Ukraine to win? And if they don't, can they really do anything about it? Personally, I feel it would be very bad for Ukraine to win Eurovision from the EBU's perspective. The reason being that they've been fighting for so long against political voting that for Ukraine to win this time, it would almost be like an endorsement. It would be like, okay, well, actually political voting is okay, or okay in this specific instance, which is a bad precedent to set. Then obviously there's other contestants who have worked so hard on their songs, often have high quality songs, especially compared to Stefania. So the question for them becomes, well, what's the point? I watched the jury rehearsal last night. Ukraine just simply was not even close to being the best performance. Interestingly, the audience reaction was muted, I felt, compared to that of Italy or Sweden or Spain especially. I don't know if that means a whole lot, but it gives me a little glimmer of hope that maybe someone can challenge Ukraine to win. I'm going to talk about Spain now. During the rehearsals, I tweeted a few times that I really thought that they put on a show that outclassed everyone else. She sings it well, she dances it well, you've got the golden shower, you've even got these sparks that come up towards the end. It's just a really great show, and the audience reaction is deafening. And I'm not even talking about just in the performance, even when they're recapping, with the phone numbers at the bottom of the screen. When Spain comes up, it's a huge cheer, sometimes louder than some countries got during their actual performance. I do have some concerns about the jury with Spain, but then again, I had concerns about the jury with Cyprus in 2018 with Fuego, and they did pretty well. My feeling, at least on the televote side, is that Spain will probably come second. I'm half going on the stats that I've seen and half going on the audience reaction that I heard during the jury rehearsals and such, but I think it's a fair call. When it comes to the juries, are they judging on just the singing or the performance as a whole? If it's the performance as a whole, then I can see Spain doing very, very well. It's a tough one to call, and my mind keeps changing, but if I had to say where they place in the final, I would say 4th or 5th, probably 4th. Moving on to the UK, it's very, very strange to be saying those words, to be talking about the UK as an actual contender. Sam puts on a great show, and I do think that he's going to win the jury vote, maybe second place, but either way, a really, really good result on the jury side. As I said in my other video, I do have some questions about the televotability of Spaceman. I will say this, there's a lot of hype about the UK's entry this year, especially within the Eurofan community. It is received well outside of it, but what I will say, through the comments that I'm reading and the forums and such, it's very hard to find an entry praising the UK that isn't written in perfect English. That feels a little bit suspect. Looking at the stats across the semis, the app stats, the Spotify stats, the social media platforms like Facebook and such stats, that's where the UK falters a little bit. The numbers don't seem to match up with the hype. Televote-wise, top 10 for me is almost certain. The question is, how close do they get to top 5 in the televote? Anything higher than 5 puts the UK in contention for the win, but my gut feeling is televote 5th to 7th place. On to Italy now. Their fall from grace has been disappointing to me, at least, because I don't really feel that Mahmood and Blanco really did anything wrong. Their performances have been top notch every time, and I do think that they're going to do very well with the juries. The new problem that's arisen for Italy is the televote. As we found out on the night of the second semi-final, we got the running order for the final. So you have Italy in 9th slot, which already isn't ideal, but then they put Spain directly after. Spain is a huge televote powerhouse. It gets that huge audience reaction with its ostentatiousness and its sexiness and its in-your-faceness versus that very gentle Italian song that comes before it. It's really going to memory hole Italy, isn't it? Couple that with the fact that the Netherlands comes after Spain, which again I think is going to be fairly popular, pretty popular. And then of course after Netherlands you have the Ukraine, which is going to obviously draw eyes to the screen. So by this point, Italy is 3 songs back, and a lot of people will have forgotten it. It's a shame because it's the one part of Eurovision that I don't really like. It's the part where randomness is introduced, where you can do everything right but get screwed over by the running order, and that has happened for Italy. Obviously, we haven't seen a full Italian performance like we've seen other countries perform in their semis, so we may be surprised by the stats. But then I think about Ukraine and Spain and Sweden and the televote potential that they have, and I just don't know if Italy can compete. So for now, I'll say Italy 3rd. Maybe that is a bit optimistic. Maybe it will be 4th or 5th, and Spain or the UK will go up a point. But there is no question now that the confidence that the betting community had in Italy in the past has now diminished greatly. On to the last of the big 5 now, Sweden. In the previous video, I had Italy ahead of Sweden in both the jury and the televote. With the new information that we have, I do have Sweden ahead of Italy now. Sweden does feel like a good all-rounder with the juries and the televote. There is some evidence with the stats for the televote side of things. It has a very favourable running order. I think everyone agrees that it's a good song. We do have some stats on Sweden as well, and it looks pretty good for the televote side of things. It's pretty much universally agreed that Sweden's Hold Me Closer is a good song, sung well, whereas with the UK and Spain, for example, there is more of a debate to be had about the quality of the songs, or at least the televotability of the songs. So yeah, like I said, Sweden is a good all-rounder, and I think it's the best hope to beat Ukraine, and that's why I have it in 1st or 2nd place. If it is in 1st place, it will be because jurors came through and did what they were told, and maybe televoters didn't come through quite as much. And if it's in second place, then it's because of what we all expected, that the Ukraine just dominated the televote completely and got enough jury points to cross the line. I'm going to switch to my screen now. We're going to look at the stats on Telestats and go through them together. So what we're looking at here are the app stats from the My Eurovision scoreboard app. There isn't a whole lot of point looking at all of this data all the way back from the 21st of March. So I'm going to just change it to the last 3 days. So that encompasses the very end of semi-1 all the way up to where we are right now. Let's just scroll down and look at the table. So we can see that Spain is ahead by a pretty decent margin. Sweden bringing up the rear. I would expect Spain to do well on an app like this. Serbia, for me, it feels very meme. And there was a lot of clapping along in the stadium, so it did get a very good reception, but I really don't think that it's in contention for the win in any kind of serious respect. Following Serbia is the UK, and then the Czech Republic again. It did quite well, but I think this may be an overreaction as well. Maybe because the Czech Republic didn't have that many points a while ago, so now it's just had a big increase. Then we have Ukraine just behind, and Italy all the way down here at 3,000 points. So yeah, it really does feel like people have given up on Italy a little bit. If we then switch over to the actual grand final, now this part of the app opened up just after the second semi-final finished, when we knew who the finalists were. Let's have a look. So we've got Sweden up ahead, we've got Spain just behind. I think that was reversed in the overall. And then if we look down the table, we've got the UK here in 5th, even behind the Netherlands. It's never quite winning the UK, and that's been the case with every measure that I've seen. It's never really winning this televote area. Then if we look down even further down the table, we've got Italy here and Ukraine. So this is a paid part of the app. You can't see this on the free tier, this grand finals option. So it seems that the die-hard fans that actually pay for an app like this don't really rate the UK, but we can't really say how the casuals who don't normally watch Eurovision or who aren't as invested in Eurovision will take to the Ukraine. My feeling is that the support for Ukraine will come from those kind of people. So these are the Twitter live stats. In this example, we can really only compare Sweden and Ukraine because obviously Italy, UK and Spain didn't compete here. But we have 3,900 mentions, 73 to win and 3,600 positive sentiment. Let's switch over to semi-1 for the Ukraine. We've got 4,200 mentions, 75 to win, so versus 73, and then 4,000 sentiment. So once again, Ukraine just doing a little bit better. Even though Sweden is arguably the higher quality song, Ukraine is still getting bigger numbers. And my feeling is in the final with more viewers, this will only be further exacerbated. So here we are looking at the Twitter stats for the semi-finals. Ukraine got 8,951, Serbia 11,200. Again, it is the kind of thing that would generate a lot of likes. Interestingly, Sweden just 3,500 likes, even below Poland. That is a little bit concerning. But if we look now at the snippets, now these are not directly comparable to the semi-final videos, but we see here that Spain has a big old lead, 9,800 likes, which is actually more than Ukraine, but that is also expected with Twitter because they do tend to like this sort of thing. Way above Italy and the UK, I mean especially the UK. It's a real concern. Here are the Facebook stats. You've got Ukraine 10,600. Something weird has happened here with Spain's stat. There's various reasons why this might happen. Maybe the thumbnail for the video didn't look great, so people don't click it. There's lots of different reasons, but we do know that Spain isn't beneath France in the rankings here, so something odd has happened. I think we can ignore this. But, you know, the UK, once again, behind Italy. I don't think Poland's a threat, but Sweden's putting up a good fight at 6,000. But what we're seeing consistently across these social media platforms is the Ukraine with consistently high social media interaction. So even though the prediction game isn't closed yet, I've been a little bit naughty and I've run the script to see what the current averages are. As we can see, there's the top 5 right there. You've got Ukraine ahead, just behind second place, we'll say, at 1.94. Then a bit of a gap, 3.19 for Sweden, and then the UK, Spain and Italy. You'll notice a big gap between Italy and the Netherlands. Italy around 5th place, and then Netherlands 9th place. So there is a big gulf between the top tier
and the rest. And as you can see from the Netherlands onwards, it is a fairly gradual decline down all the way to Germany, currently in last place.
So there you go. Those are the stats as I see them. This is going to be probably quite a big loss event for the betting community if Ukraine win. Honestly, I haven't seen the betting community so confused about who's going to win in a while, but I guess that makes it exciting. It is going to be tight at the top. It's going to be just a few points separating 2 or 3, maybe 4 contestants. So it's hard to draw any firm conclusion. I don't think it reflects in any way on people's ability to analyse the Eurovision Song Contest in the various ways they do, because if Ukraine do win, it will be for reasons separate from the contest. So if Ukraine do win, shrug it off, and like I said in the last video, just hope that next year doesn't have these circumstances that are muddying the waters. I have what I feel will be profitable bets in side markets, but for my book's sake, for my outright book's sake, and for the contest itself, I hope that Ukraine don't win, but they probably are going to. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed me rambling on. I am absolutely exhausted. I can't tell you how busy I've been over the Eurovision season. I really should do more coding during the rest of the year. I never learn. Anyway, I hope this video and the last video have been informative. I hope you've enjoyed them. I hope you make money this year. Thank you for using Telestats. The website's been getting crazy hits, so you are out there. Yeah, good luck again, and I'll see you on the other side. Cheers.